Yeah, welcome back to the. Yeah, welcome back to the show. This is GHToday. I am Sewami here. We're talking about Galamsey, and it appears if we don't take it, that's the only topic we'll discuss on the show. But I'll let them have the final bites. I'm here with Sam George. He's Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, and Dennis Miracles Abwaje. He's Director of Local Government Decentralization and Rural Development at the Presidency. You should be involved in this Galamsey fight because of your position.
I'm going to Kumasi.
You are going with the presidency.
Right from here, yes.
Ah, okay. You were making a point.
I think he's landed.
He hasn't landed. Allow him.
You know, this morning, actually, Sam and I were not really clashing plenty. We are almost on the same wavelength.
Because your both parties are guilty of the crime that we are discussing.
My only worry is that if I try to go on the tangent he went on, the conversation would drag and will not really get anywhere, and the challenge will still be there. I mean, the points he made about NDC people saying they are watching MPP and because we are doing it, they will come. So in 2013, 2014, they have experience already. 2013, 2014, Mahama says, the former president Mahama says he was fighting Galamsey. So the NDC, they were doing it. So they have experience. So they don't need to watch us. It's something that they have experience in already. Because unless he tells you that in 2013, 2014, there was no Galamsey. So they have experience. When Tony Obeng, their Minerals Commission CEO, and their communications officer was in a mining pen, he told them that when he comes...
Are they involved in Galamsey?
Yes. He told them that when he comes, they will allow them to... If you say you allow them to mine, to make money, are you not involved? Former President Mahama, on a campaign trail, said it, that when he comes, he's going to release all the illegal miners who have been arrested.
He said that?
Yes. I'll share the video with you.
He said you find it.
I'll tag you on Twitter.
No, find it for me right now. I want to watch it.
Yes.
I want to play it, actually.
Let me find it. When he's speaking, I'll find it and send it to you, and then you play it.
He said he will release all illegal Galamseyers who have been arrested.
Yes.
Former President Mahama said
yes, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
And then and so if you say that they are watching MPP, for me, I think that we are just trying to go back and forth to the conversation. Again, Charles Bisu issue. So Charles Bisu, just for the record, is not a presidential staffer. He is not at the presidency.
He was.
He said he is. He said Mr. President brought him to come and sit by his side. It's just
at the time he was appointed, was he?
No, a staffer.
No, relax.
At the time he was appointed to head that, was not a presidential staffer.
But you said that after he was.
So this new term, he's not.
He's
part
not.
Of,
That's what. Yes.
Okay.
That's the point I was trying to.
That's fine.
I was trying to make. So I think that, listen.
Why is he no longer a staffer?
Oh, but why? I was MC. I'm no longer MC. I think that really.
Because I mean, he was cleared.
But I'm saying that I was MC, I'm no longer MC.
But you've been given a different position.
So go and find out what other position he has. I'm only supplying information.
Does he have another position?
I don't know. Okay. I'm only supplying information.
You know that he's not there, but you don't know his
Yes,
position.
because I'm only responding to the point you made.
The new position there,
I don't know plenty appointments together. How would I know?
but plenty disappointments. Plenty disappointments in Canada, you know. Plenty disappointments. The appointment he doesn't know the disappointment. I thought he had landed.
The only correction I was making is that you said that President Akufo-Addo cleared him, brought him to the presidency, and is sitting by his side as a presidential star. I'm saying that at the moment he's not. But of course, even the CID investigated the matter and realized that it was not connected with even Galamsey whatsoever.
But what was he acting in his position?
I don't want to go into.
Have you seen the report?
I don't want to go into.
Did you see the report?
I don't want to digress.
Did you see the report?
I don't want to digress.
Please answer the question.
Oh, Sewa. I'm just trying to supply information. I'm just trying to supply information.
Did you see the report?
There is news and reports that the CID investigated the matter and realized that was not related. That's what I'm saying. I'm just supplying information.
But did you see the report?
No, I haven't. I don't work. I'm not an interested party in that.
All right.
That notwithstanding, I beg you. This morning, maybe for the sake of Ghana, we know that 90 districts in this country are mining areas, and some of them Galamsey endemic areas. Let's all come together as one people. MPP, NDC, chiefs, traditional leaders, religious authorities. Let's stop the blame game.
Okay.
All governments have attempted, they failed.
Okay.
I agree with Sam George. This time, we must succeed. And we can only succeed if we come together to fight it. Crime is crime. Whether the person is my party national chairman, or my party regional chairman, or my party secretary, whoever the person is, even if the person happens to be the chief of staff, and the person is involved in illegal mining, let the laws deal with them. If the person is former President John Dramani Mahama, the person is Sam George, even the person is Julius Debra, and the person is involved in illegal mining, let the laws deal with them. Because if we don't deal with this now, together as one people, our survival is threatened.
All right. Sam.
So, I'm happy Danny started by reading that article from The Graphic. Two things I'll say about that. First and foremost, let's even assume that President Mahama failed. That's why he was voted out by the Ghanaian people. And President Akufo-Addo, his boss, was appointed. Now, the person you said you would do better than, who got kicked out and you came in, he's become your gold standard. President Mahama has become the SI unit by which this government wants to be measured. If the man is the gold standard at the SI unit and the SI form, and let's go and bring him. Let him come and run it. And even when you read what he said, the article he read, that's the second point I'm making. Every single thing President Mahama laid out is what this government is now rolling out. Land reclamation, a tree planting exercise. So it is President Mahama's blueprint. Look, and you say, I've not politicized the issue. I haven't. I have just stated facts. Whether you are correcting me on Charles Bishop being a presidential staffer today or whether he was at the time he was caught on tape collecting money, and as for the CID clearing him, we know what was going on with the CID being a clearinghouse for all people accused of corruption under President Akufo-Addo, and how we had the tapes, the phone recordings, A+ and the head of CID, and the things that they were going to do. So that for me, does not change what we saw on tape. That the head of the anti-mining committee was taking money to grant access to someone to go and do mining. So, apart from that, let us even ask ourselves, under President Ma's time, you saw him we deported almost 5,000 Chinese. 5,000 arrested, sent back. The question I'm asking now is, under President Akufo-Addo, 6 years of fighting Galamsey, how many Chinese have been arrested and deported? The one crowd that we were told was deported. Now we are told that the deportation is no longer deportation, it's repatriation. From repatriation, we are told it is what fled. Now we are told she's married to a Ghanaian. Now she's back in Ghana. Even the one that they took away. So you cannot compare the resolve of both parties. Look at the state of our water bodies in 2014 and the state of our water bodies today. Clearly, they are different. Clearly, it is worse. We are worse off as a country. And so for me, Sawa, when I sit here and look at what is going on, and you want us to solve this problem, if you want to solve this problem, you must have the political will and the balls to take the politically right decisions. The president is unwilling and unable to take those decisions. Look, the buck stops with him. The ultimate power in this country to make you sleep at 6 p.m. today is in the hands of President Akufo-Addo. Even your chief cannot do that to you. You understand me? But President Akufo-Addo, with a simple decree and edict, will get it happen. And Dennis has a big role to play. Thank you for mentioning his portfolio. Big portfolio, very lengthy. If you're writing it on Director of Local Government and Decentralization. Local government, DCs, how many of your DCs that are supposed to be under your purview are actually doing the work that they ought to do? Are some of the DCs not complicit? Yes, there are DCs who we have seen come out to fight it. In the same vein, we have DCs who are complicit.
Mention their names.
Because those DCs are the head of DISEC.
Mention their names.
And MUSEC and REGSEC when it comes to the regional ministers. You understand me?
Will we ask you to mention names of
in those 90, me, I'm not a coward. So if I have anybody's name, I'll mention. But the point we are making, but if a DC,
no, just
no, wait. If a DC or an MC mining of this nature is going on in your district, and you are not aware of it, and you cannot lead REGSEC, MUSEC, or DISEC to stop it.
You're mining. So that means you're mining.
What is your use?
You're also mining.
You are complicit. You are an accessory to the murder of Ghanaians. Because me mining, I'll call him murder. So look, let's call a spade a spade. When you have one of the president's closest persons, in fact, one of his loudest fan trumpeters, Wuntumi, the regional chairman of the MPP in the Ashanti region, Mr. Enchi Bosiaku Wuntumi, as they call him. Basically, he's telling the whole Ghana, say, Wuntumi nyame, because Makonta netnaso. So Akonta mining. He's mining on water bodies, mining in forest reserves, and nobody can touch it. Look, if the president was committed to the fight, his own Minerals Commission and minister says that there's a problem with Mr. Wuntumi's mining. Can he, as he's in the Ashanti region today, show us he's serious and this is not audio, and call for the arrest of Wuntumi and prosecution immediately and investigation? Can the president and the NPP show us any real prosecution of the kingpins of Galamsey? You don't need to go far. Your regional chairman, the president is in the Ashanti region, right? He's there. By now, Wuntumi, this morning as we are sitting here, Wuntumi has led regional executives and they're having breakfast with the president. The person who is doing the mining and destroying our water bodies is having breakfast with the president.
But we don't know whether his mining is illegal.
The Minerals Commission says he is mining in the ton of forest reserves and that is not part of his concession. Nobody should be mining in the forest reserve. They have said it. It's not some judge saying it all. His own mineral, the president's head of Mineral Commission is saying this. So why is Wuntumi untouchable? If you create a cadre of untouchables in this country because of their political or traditional affiliations, then forget about this fight. Look, if the president is serious about this, like I've said, ban all mining. The plenty soldiers that we have who are all over the place, they are really not engaged in any real thing that we see. 90 districts, mining districts. In fact, we have less than 90 which are endemic. Deploy your military. Our military is not only for peacekeeping outside Ghana. This one, it is peacekeeping. Ghana needs peacekeepers in Ghana. We need peacekeepers to help us protect our water bodies because this is threatening our existence. This is biological warfare. You should call people like Wuntumi an ecological terrorist. Because these are people terrorizing our natural reserves, forest reserves, and water bodies. Call them out. Call them out. These are terrorists. Treat them as such. Okay? And prosecute them. Put the military in all of this. Deploy our military. Move them from the barracks and the bases. Put them into in there. Let us have a national operation to clear our forest reserves, clear all water bodies, and then you can then tell me you are committed to the fight. But like I said, the man said he was committed to the fight. He has failed. Okay,
Sam, he said something also that President Mahama said that he was going to release all illegal miners who had been arrested.
I want to see the video.
Yes, we have the video. Let's play
it.
Omo amochi omo galamsey no omo atu omumu ye be ma omo amnesty no omo asaba ezu no jidi se emre bia omo fom ye omo enu omo ho enti yebe yi omo na yama omo another chance ezu yeba omo chi omo galamsey no omo atu omumu yebe ma omo amnesty no omo asaba ezu no jidi se emre bia omo fom ye omo enu omo ho enti yebe yi omo na yama omo another chance.
Okay, yeah, Sam.
Fantastic.
Sharp guy.
This must be put in the context. Look, let me tell you this.
Sharp guy.
I have made the point here
that
we have kingpins in this business. Did I not tell you? Wait, did I not tell you that even some of my constituents who are supposed to be doing fishing have been lured into going to do this thing? When they go and do the arrests, they arrest the head pan carriers and leave the kingpins who import the things. The head pan carriers you have arrested, they've learned that what they are doing is wrong. So if you release them and you give them an alternate livelihood, which is again the roadmap that these people are trying to use. So President Mahama had a roadmap. You go in there.
But Sam George, it is wrong for the president to stand on a platform like that and say that he will release illegal miners. I mean, come on.
No, he said.
You don't think so?
Listen, he said we will grant amnesty to those who have been arrested on the basis of their engagement in galamsey. And like I'm saying to you, there is no kingpin who is currently in Ghana's jail. The people in there are the head
Does it matter?
It does matter because many of these people were farmers. So the boys who have sold their farmland, they are the ones who've been arrested.
And when they are arrested, it doesn't matter who they are.
No. So basically, what we are saying is simple: bring these people out, give them an alternate livelihood, and put them to productive use for our country. But that in itself is not the problem of our galamsey issue.
Sam,
the problem of our galamsey issue.
No, Sam, I expect you to condemn that statement because you cannot stand on a platform and say all the illegal miners who have been arrested, we will release them.
The people who are destroying water bodies are not the Ghanaians.
Former President Mahama is a communicator, just as you, a good one as that. You cannot stand on that platform and say you will release illegal. We are not in his mind, so we don't know whether he's talking about pan carriers, sweepers, or people who run errands. We don't know. He said that they have any crime at all, any law at all.
I know, and I'm telling you that the people who today are languishing in our jails in Ghana, with the exception of GHOne, who is now in NIB custody, who is the only high profile person. There is no high profile. We don't have a single high profile case of anybody who is a kingpin in our courts today, not to talk of in jail.
So it's okay to release them.
And so my point is, if you are releasing the Chinese, and you see, that's why I said he spoke in context. Listen, Sarah, you think it is fine?
Were you there?
I was on the campaign trail. You think it is fine? So
you were there when he made that statement?
You think it is fine? Oh, you've asked me. I said I was on the campaign trail. You think it is fine?
I see.
Sarah, you think it is fine that we pick Chinese, the Chinese who bring the champagne machines, who are the kingpins? When we arrest them, they will let them go back to their country. Then the Ghanaians who are doing the manual labor, if there are no Chinese engaged in the operation of this galamsey things, you would not have Ghanaians working in there. For me, if there is a Ghanaian who is engaged in facilitating the execution of galamsey, and President Mahama wants to release that person, I will disagree with him on the principle of that. Okay, because listen, Sarah, it's like drugs. And that's why many times in law enforcement, in drugs, when you are fighting drugs, you don't go after the corner boys. At times you arrest the corner boys and use them to go up to the source of the trade. Because if you arrest the corner boy and you don't arrest the drug lord, the corner boys are replaceable. And that's what you're seeing. How many people have we not arrested and put in our jails? Ghanaians. But has it affected the potency of the galamsey trade? No, because the kingpins have not been touched. And that's what I'm saying. If you have a kingpin like Wontumi, and you tell me that, or anybody in the NDC of equal standing, and you tell me that you want to release such a person, I will disagree with President Mahama. But as far as I'm aware, we have no such persons in our jails today. The people we have in our jails today are the equivalent of the corner boys in the drug trade, head pan carriers, and arresting those people does not stop the trade. The people you have
releasing
to go after,
them does not stop the trade either.
No, but when you release them and put them to productive use, they boost our economy. But for me, what I want to see is all of us as political parties, and that's what I've said. If President Mahama were to say that he's not going to go after the kingpins, so I would disagree with him.
All right, let's move on. So we have to move on. Then if you speak, you speak.
I played a video.
No, but if you speak, you
can't do that.
No, I have to.
You can't do that.
If you speak, you speak.
I brought. It was my video. It's okay if he comes back, but it was my video.
But I don't have that time.
No, but it was my video.
No, I have to move on.
Oh, how?
So President Akufo-Addo, I'm sorry, but I have to move on.
This is so unfair. You agree? Give me 30 seconds. You are begging. You give him. You give him 30 seconds.
Decide,
no, when he takes it, I won't take it again.
I don't have time.
But you let me wrap up.
If I give you 30 seconds, he will speak. And don't say that you want to come back.
I won't come back. I won't come back.
He will use his.
No, this is the last comment I will make.
Go ahead. Please go ahead.
So, Sawa, I mean, I understand the struggle in trying to, make a case for this. What President Mahama said is completely shameful. Like I'll pick on some George's points that people who make comments like President Mahama are murderers. That's what he said. Because President Mahama clearly from his comment is an enabler of galamsey. You are here telling me that they can be released even though they've been caught engaging in illegal mining. When President Mahama spoke, he said illegal miners. We don't know whether it's a kingpin. Every illegal miner is an illegal miner. Who is a kingpin and who is a downtrodden? You are an illegal miner. Armed robbers. Do you know how much a shotgun costs? How many of the armed robbers in our jails can afford a shotgun? They are sent by kingpins. Why don't you release all of them and go after their kingpins? That is why I am saying that this particular video makes nonsense of all the things Sam George has said this morning, and I understand the struggle.
Yes, 30 seconds.
It makes nonsense of everything I've said, and President Mahama is a murderer. Then President Akufo-Addo is the king of murderers. Because
he hasn't said that
he has arrested the people and he wants to
he hasn't said what he is actually covering up and enabling them.
Can you imagine?
Manasseh Azuri did a video and showed you President Akufo-Addo's appointee facilitating it. What did President Akufo-Addo do? He cleared him.
People are laughing.
President Akufo-Addo's regional chairman.
President Akufo-Addo didn't claim him. He's not the CID.
He didn't claim him.
Is he the CID?
What are you talking about? Did you not hear the head of the CID investigating similar matters say that she wanted audience with the president, and because this will make the president look bad?
Similar matters, not the same matters. Not the same matter.
But so what are you saying? If the CID investigating one presidential staffer on an allegation of corruption says that they don't want the president to look bad, why would they not clear another one so that the president doesn't look bad? Okay. I've said to you that as he's in Ashanti region today, his women organizer, his national women organizer, KGM4, who is engaged in Galamsey, what has the president done about it?
If you arrest him, Mahama will release.
You understand me?
Mahama will release.
So arrest the person and let's see. Aisha that was arrested. What did President Akufo-Addo do?
Okay, let's move
on. It's sad.
Let's move on. Thank you very much. Let's still stay on President Akufo-Addo. And subsequently, we will bring you.
You can't condemn President Akufo-Addo. And the guy has sat here and said Akufo-Addo is not to blame. But he can blame Mahama. But he can't blame Akufo-Addo.
Everybody didn't say what
he tells the truth about President Akufo-Addo today. By the time he leaves here, there's a green letter disappointing him.
I feel sad.
Thank you so much. Let's move on. Let's stay on President Akufo-Addo. And the president has directed SIGA and the AG to investigate causes of infractions by officials of state-owned enterprises captured in the 2021 Auditor General's report and present the report to him in 4 weeks. Dennis, is this necessary? I mean,
well, it is part of the process of continuously strengthening our systems and processes. These things, they are processes, they are not events. And so the Auditor General is playing its part, Internal Audit Agency is playing its part. This is the President's own additional contribution towards dealing with some of these issues. And so for me, I think it's a good call. It's a call in the right direction. Audit infractions, they come in several forms. I have had my own challenges with the auditor's report anyway, because it is very misleading, completely misleading. On another day, maybe we can go into that. A lot of the things you see in the auditor report is completely misrepresented, and the Auditor General knows it. I have letters from the Auditor General himself, in at the regional level, district level, admitting to some of these. Let me give you just one example, then I move on. So the Auditor General cites, let's say, 10 billion as infractions. But when you go into the 10 billion, you realize that it is not 10 billion Ghana cedis of money people have stolen. Okay, for example, you go to New Jabin South, they've built a chips compound, completed it in, let's say, April, and it hasn't been put in use. And then the value of that building is 900,000. So you quote 900,000 as an infraction. And then we'll be discussing 10 billion as the infraction. But 900,000 hasn't gone into anybody's pocket. It has not been stolen by anybody. But the impression is created as if some 10 billion cedis has been created. I think that actually helps those who have actually stolen. It helps those who have actually stolen money, from actually being accountable. Can the Auditor General do all of us good by actually separating the actual money that have gone into people's pocket? If GRA hasn't collected GHOne's taxes, don't come and add it to 12 billion infractions, so we'll be discussing it. Talk about GRA not being efficient to go and collect them, because a lot of times, by the next 14 period for the Auditor General, GHOne have paid the taxes. And yet we'll be discussing 12 billion and say people have stolen money, Then the actual people who have stolen the money, they go into hiding themselves. And I think if President Akufo-Addo is asking the board of these institutions to really go into the details of the issue and separate these things to identify individuals who are actually culpable when it comes to actual infractions that we have identified. I think it's a call in the right direction. And just as it's provided the SIGA with 4 weeks to do this. I'm hoping that they get it done. And then some decisive action should be taken on these individuals, so it becomes a deterrent for a lot of other people. I think there isn't much. I mean, there are still weaknesses in our systems. There are still weaknesses in our processes. People are still finding ways and means to dupe the state. No doubt about that. People are still finding ways and means to, steal money from the state. No doubt about that. People are being inefficient in the processes. No doubt about that. And it's good that the Auditor General consistently highlights these things. But what is crucial is that beyond the highlighting, what are some of the other actions that can be taken to deal with it? And I'm happy that Mr. President at this point has taken some. Besides, this is the first time actually that any president has met the board in this manner and charged them to this particular duty. Let's see what will come out of it.
Okay, well, just to let the viewers know that some judge has sent me the full video of former President John Dramani Mahama. We will play that also before we wrap up the show. Sam.
The first video was
thank you very much. The first video,
it was video
did not show the full thing. The full video is 2 minutes and 37 seconds, and I want you to play because in that video, that's the point I was making. He made the point.
Don't worry.
I'm going to my matter.
Sam,
you play it and you give me the opportunity to speak to it.
Yes.
Fantastic.
No problem.
Yes.
So we say we will speak to it, then I'll
definitely.
Hold it.
So please move on
so
with the
play
topic.
the full 2 minutes 37 video. Good. Shawa.
Yes.
The president is engaged in an illegality. And like I said, the president is all about showboating. President Akufo-Addo majors in minors and minors in the major things. Look, you have a president who has superintended over the worst decline in public financial management. In 2016, when President Mahama left office, the Auditor General's report found misappropriation. The same Auditor General's report that today we are being told we have a problem with the way he reports. That same mode of reporting found misappropriation to the tune of 700 million. 700 million total infractions in 2016 under President Mahama. In 2020, the infractions were 12 billion. 12 billion. 2021, out of the roof. It's the same reporting style. So clearly, you have the heads of state entities this time being having extreme disregard for public financial management. And why would anyone do that? Because they are corrupt. Because they are seen to benefit from the system. Look, this president's call is not founded in law. Let's be clear. The Auditor General is not an appointee of the president. The Auditor General is an officer of parliament. And so let me read Article 187 for you. This is not some George speaking. This is the Constitution. Article 187 of the Constitution.
Okay.
Says that there shall be an Auditor General of Ghana, whose office shall be a public office. 1. Now, in 2, it makes him.
For you if you want.
No, I'm reading. In 1872, it says that the public accounts of Ghana and of all public offices, including the court, central and local government administration of the universities, blah, 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 established by an act of parliament, shall be audited and reported on by the Auditor General. Now, if you read 1875, it says the Auditor General shall, within 6 months after the end of the immediately preceding financial year, to which each of the accounts mentioned in clause 2, which I've read, of this article relates, submit his report to Parliament. Shall, within 6 months, submit his report to Parliament, not to the President. And shall, in that report, draw attention to all irregularities in the account audited and to any other matter which, in his opinion, ought to be brought to the notice of Parliament. Then 6, Parliament shall debate the report of the Auditor General and appoint, when necessary in the public interest, a committee to deal with any matters arising from it. That committee Parliament has set up is the Public Accounts Committee. I'm a member of that committee. We are versed with sitting on the Auditor General's report on behalf of the Speaker of Parliament and reporting to Parliament, and then directions or matters arising are dealt with in there. The President doesn't have the right. Now, if you go to 18, and I know what the MPP will quickly send to Dennis. They will tell him to tell me to read 1877. Let me read it for them because I know how they operate. It says, in the performance of his function, that's the Auditor General, under this Constitution or any other law, the Auditor General shall not be subject to the authority, direction or control of any other person or authority. So that is to establish the fact that the President cannot control the Auditor General. But what they would ask him to read to me is 1878, where they will say, paragraph A of clause 7 of this article shall not preclude the president. acting in accordance. Now, but you see, in saying that the president can give a direction to the Auditor General, it sets the benchmarks. It says, acting in accordance with the advice from the Council of State, from requesting the Auditor General in the public interest to audit at any particular time the account of any such body or organization as is referred to in clause 2. Here, what the president has done is not 1878. There is no advice from the Council of State on this SIGA matter. 1. 2, the president is not asking for an audit. What the president is asking the Auditor General to do is that after the Auditor General has done an investigation and found his appointees guilty of financial infractions, that the president is saying that another appointee of his, the Director General of SIGA, should work with the Auditor General to find how to deal with. Does the president even read the Constitution? Does he understand what we are talking about here? The president, if he was really minded to fighting corruption, would have been adding his voice to the calls of the 32 CSOs that picketed the other day and the minority in asking the Auditor General to exercise his powers in Article 187 of surcharge. Because the Constitution says where there is a misappropriation, you must surcharge the person. The Auditor General is not doing that. The president should rather be adding his voice to a call for surcharge, not asking for a window dressing and cover up. What the president wants to do is to cover up. In 4 weeks, they will bring him a report that will look to put dressing cream and mayonnaise on the rotten salad of financial misappropriation in our public sector. And then he will want to take the wind out of the sail of the Public Accounts Committee. Hey, Mr. President, be careful. You cannot usurp Parliament's powers. This Parliament is not like, where's my camera? This Parliament is not like the previous Parliament. This Parliament, we are not a rubber stamp Parliament. We know what our legislative powers are. Mr. President, stay in your lane. Because even you, as office of the President, there are infractions against you. And Public Accounts Committee will sit on it and go into the matter. And if possible, surcharge you. So don't use SIGA and don't think you can give a directive to the Auditor General. The president is only doing window dressing. He wants to cover up the corruption and the rot. We won't allow him. We will investigate the matters properly at the Public Accounts Committee, because that is what the Constitution says in Article 187.
Okay.
So I think Honorable Sam George has
quickly
used the
wrap
last,
up so that
the
I can
last
play that video.
5 minutes really to set his own questions and answer. All the articles he read and the Auditor General and all of that. I don't know if you really listened to the president or even read the story about the conversation that the president had with SIGA. There is nowhere that the president has sought to direct the Auditor General what to do. There is nowhere that the president has sought to ask SIGA to replace the Auditor General's responsibility. In fact, if you listen to me, you'd realize that I said that is the president's own additional actions to ensure that some of these infractions are dealt with. And individuals, and if you listen to the president, that was a directive that officers who are involved. Why? If you come to my organization at the IMCC, if there's an Auditor General's report in the IMCC, I have to identify what it's in the report and identify who within the organization are responsible for those activities. And then I can use internal sanctions to deal with it so that it doesn't recur. I am surprised about Honorable Sam George's public account and wanting a camera and Auditor General. Where did that come from?
But they are processes.
The president cannot tell the Auditor General what to do. That process is not triggered by the president. It is the Auditor General's job. He should do his job. In one vein, you are saying that the president cannot control the Auditor General. In another vein, you are saying that the president should do what? The president is the one running these state organizations. There's an audit report on these state organizations. The president has a board that represents him in the organizations. He says, board, go and pay the Auditor General report and identify individuals who are responsible for these infractions in the organization. Let me have a report, and they must be dealt with. How is it even connected? But of course, I believe that he really did not understand exactly what the conversation was, which is fine. So we cannot, blame him whatsoever for it. But really,
here's what the president said.
Go ahead.
I am directing the Director General of SIGA to work with the Auditor General to drill down the causes of the infractions, identify the persons responsible, and make the necessary recommendations as prescribed by law. But the persons involved have already been named in the Auditor General's report.
No, it's not. It's not. Let me tell you, it's not.
They haven't been named?
No, it's not. The infractions are identified. Why? I also run an organization. For example, an infraction will be identified that a certain 1 million Ghana cedis, cannot be traced. That is what the report will say. when the report says that if I am a board and I'm a CEO and I'm a president, I am interested in, okay, this infraction has been identified. Who within the organization is responsible for the infraction? That is what the president is seeking to do. The president is not seeking to replace the Auditor General or tell the Auditor General what to do. It is nowhere in the conversation. And when these infractions are indicated, these infractions are supposed to help you, the organization, to first of all, the Auditor General's responsibility is to recover. That is his job. That is his job. But the president's responsibility is to fix the system. And that's what the president is trying to do. You can only fix the system if you identify where the loopholes are, who are the individuals responsible. Each of the infractions in the report has an officer responsible for the infraction. And so all these things about the Auditor General, the president never said that. There was no conversation around that. I think whatever he said, like I'm saying, he said his own question and answered it. This is the president speaking to his board. That let's identify those responsible for the infractions in our organization. Okay. And let's fix it.
All right. Sam, quickly, I need to play, yeah.
I'm accused of not reading the story and not
I said maybe. I cannot accuse an honorable member. I said maybe, please, maybe.
Thank you that since I didn't read, you who have read, you read it to him.
But why did you, where is the reading connected to what you said?
When you were talking,
I'm sorry. I'm surprised because I didn't see the connection. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
When you read for him, what did that president, please read for me again. Since I didn't read, please read for me.
So you didn't read?
He's saying I didn't read, so please read for me.
Okay. The president said, I am directing the Director General of SIGA to work with the Auditor General.
Hold it there.
To drill down the causes. The Auditor General.
You see, as an elder in church, I'm being tempted to do the way we do Bible verse. You read, I interpret, then we continue. The president is directing the Director General of SIGA to work with the Auditor General to do what?
To drill down the causes of the infractions.
Causes of infractions.
Identify the persons
responsible.
And make the necessary recommendations as prescribed by
I put it to you that Dennis and his boss, the president, don't read. If the president...
No, put it to him.
If the president had read, the president would even make these directives.
Read what? The Constitution?
No! If he had read the Auditor General's report. And Dennis sitting, I'm surprised, he's the former DC. We've audited, Auditor General has worked with them before. If they had read the Auditor General's report, the Auditor General's report has identified the problems, identified the persons, and made recommendations already. It is in the report, but they don't read. They're more interested in how they can loot the purse. They are not reading. If they had read, they would have seen that everything the president is directing Director General of SIGA to do in consultation with the Auditor General. The Auditor General has already done and submitted to Parliament in that report. And it is not true what Dennis says, that just the infraction is put there. Please, I've been on that committee for almost 6 years. Every report, every infraction, if they state this district or this state institution, they state what the infraction is. They state who the responsible officers are. And go ahead to state what in the report. It's in the report.
Dennis, have you seen it?
And so, listen, when the auditors go to do an audit, and that is why, for me, I hold the view that public accounts should not even be working just the way we are working. We should be having more by. People should not come and tell us we've brought documents. Because it makes no sense. Some of the things people come and say to us are public accounts. You go and sit in Dennis's assembly when he was DC. They come and spend 2 weeks there with Dennis and his officers. They ask for all the documentation. Dennis and his officers are not able to provide, specific officers are not able to provide those documents. The auditors leave there. In a month's time, before they leave there, they do an exit conference and say these are all the outstanding issues. In a month's time, after 30 days, after spending 2 weeks, a month later, they come back with a draft report and say these are still outstanding. Dennis and his people could not find the documents in the 2 weeks they were there. In the 4 weeks, 30 days after they left, they couldn't find the document. After that, there is an exit conference before the Auditor General produces. Then, when you are to appear before the Public Accounts Committee, 2 weeks later, or 2 years later, a week before you appear before the Public Accounts Committee, all those documents surface and they go and show it to the Auditor General. When you ask them, some of the excuses we get that rats took the document. Rats took the document and brought them back. These are the problems of rot and criminality we have there. So don't tell me that we haven't read.
Let's help your viewers and also probably help with the conversation. So I'm reading the Auditor General's report 2021, just a portion, page 25. This is the report of the Auditor General on the public accounts of Ghana, Ministry, Department, and other agencies. So just a section on competitive procurement. I'm just giving one example. Section 18 of the Public Procurement Act 2016 states that, so he goes on and on. He says, we noted that management in 15 instances handpicked service providers to provide accommodation with conference facilities without subjecting the transaction to any prescribed procurement procedures. Further, the transactions were not contained in the procurement plan of the ministry for the 2021 financial year. Details are as follows. Then it says, 99. We recommend that the Chief Director should investigate the cause of the procurement infractions, and officers found culpable should be appropriately sanctioned. So if I am a minister at this ministry, and I meet my president who has read this report, and my president tells me that I am giving you 4 weeks, go to your ministry and bring me a report on who caused this infraction. You are telling me that the person who did it is in the report. Where did the person who did it mention in the Auditor General's report? This is the Auditor General's report I'm reading to you. 2021. So I am just saying that sometimes when we're having these kind of conversations, we should try as much as possible. Well, we can do politics with it or not. But when it comes to the express nature of the issues, we should stick to it.
Okay.
The president is basically meeting his board. These are people who represent him in state organizations. He's saying, I have read the Auditor General's report. I have seen that there are infractions in it. I am giving all of you 4 weeks. Go, look into the report, get all the details you need. Within 4 weeks, bring me a report of officers who are responsible for these infractions.
All right.
It is nowhere connected to all the articles Honorable Sam George read.
Okay, thank you.
You won't give me a bite?
No, we have to play that video, Sam.
If then is there, you give him. If Sam,
Give him.
Okay. Give Sam. Play the video.
Let's bring you the full video of the president's.
Yes, that's also very important.
Of the president, you see, but you will not do this. Let's bring you that full video of President Mohammed's talk.
No problem. I won't fight it.
Ono de mo fana jina court am fana kotum mo abai say kweti agalam say na Ghana ma omo yes small scale mining watch it omo o de omo akojina court e de omo court prison and then they can say your mama be at that prison say omo ye galamsey nti and so ya coaching China niba ono ye galamsey queen ono de mo afana ankojina court afana ankotum mo say onko ni krom and mo jam free oko and so ya made omo de omo da efiase ezu yeba omo chi omo galamsey no omo atu omo yeba ma omo amnesty no omo asaba ezu lojidi se emabia omo fomye omo enu omo ho enti yebe yi omo na yama omo another chance ebi se yebe yen hihye a ebe ma enyoma ayeyi yeyi mu yen koye senia ye absese se wonka party bi ho ana se wonye nipa bi ene galamsey no yen pene ma wonye wo de ko trans na komku na ye party for DC no ene hwa no omo de galamsey no omo pene ma omo ye ezu na me ya me se obi excavator ya je na e de komo obi fofo na on the two gold na o de ote ho efe me se me ba excavators ya je free crofo na ya be je o ma de ni asa bia mo
The entire context of this video clearly shows that he's an enabler. He's a murderer, according to you. You finished.
Yes.
It's obvious what I said.
You have 2 minutes.
Yes, obvious what
I'm
I
waiting
said.
for my 2 minutes.
He spoke clearly in the context of the governments of the day's handling of GHOne foreigners vis-a-vis Ghanaian small-scale miners The small-scale miners. And if you watch that video, he spoke about small-scale miners.
But he mentioned Galamsey as well.
Because we've used Galamseyers and small-scale miners interchangeably.
But the president knows
when he
better.
spoke, but when he spoke, he said, "What chiche yema awomu small-scale mining." He didn't say any other thing apart from that. And what would China for no? What jawo mama omako? And was he lying? Was GHOne not? Have we not seen the debacle of GHOne, where even the president said he didn't know whether she was even deported at all? But Ghanaian small-scale miners were jailed. And that's what he's saying. That what is sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. If you are going to jail everybody engaged in mining, then jail the Chinese as well. But you can't be jailing Ghanaian small-scale miners and Chinese who are engaged in actual desecration of our water bodies. When you arrest them, then you either make them marry a Ghanaian and bring them back through the back door, or never even deport them. That's the context in which President Mahama spoke.
So he will give back the seized excavators to the people.
But Sawa, if I own an excavator,
these justifications that the former president is supposed to be making?
Sawa, I own an excavator. You have come to seize my excavators, and mind you, there were several people who were engaged in construction, road construction, whose excavators were even seized. There were road contractors whose excavators were seized by this tax force. So you saw the excavators that were bent in Ashanti region, for example. A contractor's excavator bent. He wasn't engaged in mining. Even Ibrahim Mahama's excavators were seized at a point in time. Ibrahim, engineers and planners had their excavators seized. So at the end of the day, you had people, excavators. People who were doing legitimate business, their excavators were seized and handed over to MPP party people to go and do Galamsey. Okay. And that's what he's saying. That you cannot take someone's property and give to another person. So you see, they can choose to put a spin. For me, Sawa, Ghanaians heard this. Ghanaians heard this and chose not to vote for the President Mahama, right? Mm-hmm. They heard it. Mm-hmm. They said they don't like it. Mm-hmm. So they won't vote for President Mahama. Mm-hmm. They voted for President Akufo-Addo. Mm-hmm. Now, if they voted for President Akufo-Addo, do the job and let us see. Okay. You have rather gone to now give the job, the Galamsey job, to your party people. Whether he's getting a kickback from it or whether he's a beneficiary of the illegal money that they are making, only Dennis and his boss.
Dennis, yes.
My guy,
you have the last
really
word.
about to subjudge, to be very honest with you. But I think this morning some judge has done the former president a lot of disservice. The video he played is even worse. He's even added more. Apart from the fact that he says he's going to release all the illegal miners, he says the excavators that have been seized, he's going to give it back to them, to the people to go and mine. He even went on to say that the excavators were not seized. And given to MPP people who will take it from you and give it back to their owners. But you are doing the same thing then.
Please, yes.
He even went on to say that basically he's an enabler. He's saying that the people should go and embark on illegal mining. They should go and destroy our water bodies because they are Ghanaians. And that so long as the Chinese have been expatriated and they haven't been arrested, then Ghanaians should also be allowed to go and destroy our water bodies. Then why are you here today calling out names? Calling people that you know politicians. I didn't know Ghanaians. Can they also mine? According to your former president, all of these things for me, I think is needless. The former president was doing politics. I forgive him. I am sure a lot more Ghanaians have forgiven him. It was politics. He wanted the votes of the people, and that is why he did what he did. Okay. It is shameful. I don't want to say, and I don't want to support Honorable Sam George's point, but if I really want to support him, then I'll say, this morning, wherever the former president is, he should bow his head in shame. He's an enabler of
what should we say to the president today, who is superintending over the desecration of our water bodies? He's president. He's commander-in-chief of our armed forces. And those armed forces are engaged in Galamsey and desecrating our water. The president is an apology to this country.
Okay. Now, the NCA, the SIM cards, we have to go quickly. Yeah. They say that subscribers who have not registered will know their face.
Let me tell you something.
And
Dennis was on Facebook.
And GHOne says, you answer. GHOne says that you are championing a crusade of lawlessness.
He is. He's following the former president.
Let me tell you something.
Former president's
Dennis, I cautioned Dennis.
He is.
When Dennis went on Facebook and was ranting and calling me all kinds of names and not knowing my fact, I told you that the 30th of September will come in this country. And your minister who had made herself Danso Mantijan Ali cannot block people's SIM cards. So, you see? You understand me? Because
a lawmaker.
Listen, yes.
A lawmaker enabling lawlessness.
The laws of Ghana.
His flag bearer is enabling lawlessness.
Allow him.
The laws of Ghana. I'm a lawmaker. The laws of Ghana do not allow the minister to do what she's doing.
But the law says you are registered.
A And
just go and register.
How will you register? You don't have the Ghana card. Ask Dennis if the Ghana card is bought in the future.
How will you register?
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm grateful for your time.
How will I register?